So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. There's nothing wrong with that. No, that doesn't mean you become narcissistic, where you think the whole world's about you. But no, you develop a strong, healthy ego. That's right, I said it. Nothing wrong with a strong, healthy ego that makes you determined to be what others gave up on being, who may have had ability to be it, but they were too weak and they didn't think enough of themselves to do it. Think enough of yourself to do something with yourself. Unapologetic. And it is also in self-awareness and self-acknowledgement and pushing yourself forward. Again, not in a narcissistic way, not in a it's me and only me way, but in a healthy ego way, where yes, I'm gonna help others because that's who I am, not because I feel less than and I feel that I'm compensating something by helping others. No, I'm fulfilling me. Yes, I'm going to build and strengthen a family because that's who I am, not because I've been beat down to do it. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate your uniqueness. Celebrate your achievements. Your first responsibility in life is what you do with you. God already gave you life and certain gifts and talents unique unto you. Now what do you do with it? And if you do well with it, celebrate it. Unapologetic.
Letting the joy unfold. I'm living my life like it's going. the conversation. Just keep it real. Live from the National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York, keeping it real. And now, America's #1 civil rights leader, Al.
Good afternoon.
It's Wednesday, August 29th.
April 29th.
I'm sorry, I said August. It's April 29th. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. Good morning to our West Coast listeners, and welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. Let me say that a lot of the show today is going to be around this disastrous ruling, and I said disastrous, by the Supreme Court, that I've been talking about the possibility of it for months, and now it is here. The Supreme Court voted in a 6-3 ruling that the Louisiana's second majority black congressional district is an unconstitutional racial gerrymander, and it limits how race can be used in drawing districts under the Voting Rights Act. It narrows the legal power to create majority black districts, while Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 remains intact. The decision restricts courts and advocacy groups like the American Civil Liberty Union or the NAACP Legal Defense Fund from forcing states to draw districts that increase minority voting districts. And it raises the stakes now for the 2026 midterms, because you have redistricting battles that have already taken place in Texas. Now they're talking about one in Florida. Now you're talking about California. And the direct impact is to reinterpret Section 2 in future voting. Now, this means that if National Action Network or any other group say that the way the district lines are being drawn in any given state, it in many ways weakens the ability of blacks to vote because they chop up our areas. So let me give you an example. If they want to come to a black area, west side Chicago, they draw the district where they would have the west side chopped up into 3 different congressional districts, so you don't have a concentrated black vote. And they can elect 3 different white Congress people, and you have no black representation. And if you challenge it based on race, according to this ruling, it won't stand. And I've been talking about this for months. Many of you that listen to this show or watch Politics Nation know I've been warning this. And then your apologist have been saying, oh, I don't think they'll do that. Well, they did it, 6-3. So you have your apologists on one side saying, I don't think they'll do it. You have your people that are either not being rational or being sponsored saying, oh, we're going to hold our vote till they do so-and-so. That's exactly what they want you to do. hold all the votes you want. They cut up the districts, your vote means nothing. And we won't get the Affordable Care Act, we won't get our right portion of DEI, and you can forget about reparations. That's why I have said throughout this whole since Trump got reelected, make it make sense. Don't make it get loud. Don't make it sound like you bad and militant and all of that. Make it make sense. Because these people do not care. They have not renewed the Voting Rights Act. They have ended DEI, which is a lot of our jobs, a lot of our contracts. They have not reissued let's put it, they have not done what they're supposed to do in terms of keeping gas prices down. So now we are getting reports that gas is going to go over $4 at the pump. And now they have taken Voting Rights Act. And at the same time, Florida is getting ready to go into a special session. They're not even going to the voters to decide. DeSantis is going into a special session, the Florida House, that they can defy the will of the people and circumvent the fair districts amendments to Floridians approved to prevent exactly the kind of unlawful redistricting that they have done. And clearly, Florida's next on the map. So you're talking about losing a certain amount of Democratic seats, which may deny Hakeem Jeffries getting to be Speaker, unless we come out and vote with a vengeance. And you're talking about cutting out a number of Black Caucus members. Now, I know you're going to get some, and they can call in and defend their point. They're going to say, well, the Black Caucus wasn't doing anything anyway. Really? So Affordable Care Act that provided health care for seniors didn't mean nothing. And protecting diversity, equity, and inclusion, where some of our black businesses could get contracts that couldn't get them before, that didn't mean nothing. And having police reform that put body cameras on policemen for the first time in U.S. history, that didn't mean nothing. I really have a hard time differentiating between whether some people that say that or just don't know, or whether they're somehow working for some other interest. Because it's hard for me to believe people are that stupid. And the answer is we're going to have to vote with a passion. We're going to have to vote in these districts and outvote other people. Because this ought to give us a motivation to vote. This ought to make us say, no. If our grandparents took whippings, tear gas, murder to get the Voting Rights Act, you're not just going to take it and think that we're going to say, well, you outsmarted us. No. We're going to come out in big numbers, and if we can come out in big numbers, even in districts that's not ours, if they have a low turnout on their side and we turn out in super numbers, we win anyhow and put representatives in there that can reverse this. Because all we need to do is get a legislature majority with Hakeem and reintroduce another act and run it right into law, and they'd have to take years to go back to the Supreme Court to overturn that. That's what we need to do. But we need to stop jibing ourselves that you're going to just be able to holler and get something. I don't understand what has to happen. These people, Hegseth was in front of the committee this morning. These people are not even talking about coming out of Iran. Not even talking about opening up the Strait of Hormuz. And James Mitchell's on the message board saying, quoting Bruce Turner, who says that a gallon of gas in the Garden City of New York is $4.90. Call somebody that told you there was no difference between Kamala and Trump, and ask them, is there a difference between $3 a gallon, $2.80 a gallon, and $4.90 a gallon? Ask them, is there a difference? Because if Kamala Harris had been president, we wouldn't be in Iran, and we would not be with the Strait of Hormuz closed. So tell your brilliant, know-it-all friends, is there a difference between $2.80, $3 a gallon, and $4.90? And I think it's time for us to just shut the noise down. That's why, I'm not intimidated by noise, because I've been in this half a century, and I know half the noise is provocateurs and the other half is just don't understand and don't want to understand. And don't want to understand. So a lot to talk about today. Certainly that is the lead story. I'm in fact trying to get our attorney Jennifer Jones Austin, who's on Thursdays, to come in today to break down the legalities of this. So let me take a break and we'll bring her in and talk about this ruling. We'll talk about the gas prices that is going up and they're not backing down in Washington. And we talk about the former FBI director who's been arrested again on some craziness that he threatened the president. He couldn't make this up. And King Charles was there yesterday in Washington. I think he's coming to New York, reminding, get this now, King Charles of the United Kingdom, England, had to remind them of their own constitution of checks and balances. The king, the royalty that they rebelled against 250 years ago, had to tell them about Magna Carta, checks and balances. It's all upside down, but some of us going to turn it right side up. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keep it in real. Be right back.
Breaking.
It's been a long time coming, but I know
1968, Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
I have a dream today.
When they can't kill the dreamer.
Robert Culp used to do a show with Bill Cosby, I Spy, and he did a documentary on breadbasket, Robert Culp.
Oh, wow.
You need to see that documentary. It's great.
Absolutely.
I lived this. I didn't read this. I lived it. I was there.
You true to this?
I'm true to this.
Not new to this.
I ain't new to this.
Walter Phone Troy, you see him?
He was, Jack O'Dell was one of the guys that Kennedy warned Dr. King about. Say he was a communist.
Wow.
Jack O'Dell and Stanley Leverson. And Reverend brought him in. Nobody else in the movie would deal with Jack. Reverend brought him in.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Just us.
Just like.
But there's stories behind all of it. It didn't just happen.
But I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be in jail, but I am somebody. I may be uneducated, but I am somebody. I am black, beautiful, proud. I must be respected. I must be protected. I am somebody.
Come today. I see the Reverend Jesse Jackson is here. Lord, we thank you for the Reverend Jesse Jackson. I see the Honorable Maxine Waters is here. We thank you for Maxine Waters. You see the Reverend Al Sharpton is here. We thank you.
This organization has been on the front line. People ask me, why do families call us? Because we never leave them. No justice! No justice! What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? When do we want it? When do we want it? When do we want it?
look at Iran, look at what's going on in Minnesota, look on. Yeah, but I was raised by them to realize that after storms, if we do the right thing in the storm, if we organize, if we register, if we do what we're supposed to do, there's always a rainbow coming out. The rainbow don't show until the storm is over. The rainbow gonna come out in November. The rainbow gonna come out in 28. We're gonna fix these tricks in 26 and march through the gates in 28. We didn't come this far to turn around now. We won't go back. We won't go back. We won't go back.
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Black. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they're literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started in Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, the ACP Defense Fund was together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and a lot of media is coming by headquarters getting a reaction, but I need our audience nationwide to understand the impact of this decision by the Supreme Court, though some of us predicted it. Just because you see a punch coming doesn't mean it doesn't break your jaw if you're not careful when it lands. So I wanted to get our policy wonk, who's usually here on Thursday, to come in today, and she broke her schedule to come and break this down because she's the best attorney, activist, policy person I know, and that's, of course, the CEO of the Protestant Welfare Agencies of New York and the vice chairman of the National Board of the National Action Network, Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin. How you doing, Jenny, first of all?
Doing okay. This ruling, it's like every day you wake up and you think just when it couldn't get worse, it gets worse.
It
This
does.
is not good.
You and I over the last and I over the last several months, I think, have had the occasion of discussing that this could be a devastating decision by the Supreme Court on the Voting Rights Act. Now that we're here, explain to us what this means.
What we have to keep in mind is that the United States Constitution was amended with two amendments, the 14th and the 15th Amendment, to ensure voting protections for people of color, in particular for Black people, after we'd experienced so much discrimination when it came to the right to cast our votes and have our votes actually count. And what I mean by actually have our votes count, if you're voting in districts and places where uh, you are significantly outnumbered, as a black voting block, and there's a significant white voting block, then your votes, even if casted, really may not have an impact. And so there were two provisions of the Voting Rights Act, Section 2 and Section 5. Section 2 spoke to and talked about the importance of pre-clearance, that when a legislative body was moving to change the laws concerning voting, that if the laws, that the laws had to be approved, especially I should back up and say, in districts and in communities, in places, jurisdictions where we've seen evidence of voting rights violations based on racial discrimination, that county, that state would have to actually get pre-clearance with respect to the changes in the law it sought to make in order to protect Black persons' rights to vote. Back in 2013, the Supreme Court struck that down and said that, essentially pre-clearances were no longer required. So that we've come of age, we've arrived at a point where that really wasn't happening more. And you know what? The federal legislature could go back and write a rule if they wanted to address that. But doing so, requiring a pre-clearance, was unconstitutional. Then there is the Louisiana case where the legislature moved to redraw the districting map because it felt and it seemed, and it was the case, that in the state that there was really only one strong Black voting district, and that didn't seem to be fair and appropriate because 1/3 of the residents, the citizens, are Black. And so they created two districts. And then there was a lawsuit filed saying that was unconstitutional, made its way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has said today, yes, it is unconstitutional. Said that individuals, jurisdictions cannot create race-conscious districting with respect to maps to ensure that Black people have their votes count. And also said that you cannot be doing this with the mindset of the potential impact for racial violations. So in other words, you can't remedy with redistricting a situation where Blacks are discounted in the voting. We essentially have no protections anymore, because the other thing we need to know is that when the Supreme Court decides, it now becomes precedent for the nation.
Yeah,
So
and I think that people need to understand that what they will do now, just to graphically lay it out, is they will lump all Blacks in one district. Mm-hmm. So you only get one congressman. Mm-hmm. And then in less populated districts, they will chop them up into 8 districts. And they'll get 8 congressmen or women against one Black district and have all of that power for the state, because they can determine where the lines go. There's no protection that there has to be a certain amount of population, and it's certainly not race. And that's what they'll do. They will segregate us away from having the strength that we need to have representation. And we told people this could happen. But people run around talking about what's no difference between Kamala and Trump, and don't vote lest we get reparations. Well, what you got to say now? Because now you don't even have a shot at any of that unless we turn this around state by state.
That's exactly right. And what we've got to remember is this is two-part, right? This is, as we think about something I think people often forget, is as the nation becomes majority people of color, estimated by the year somewhere between 2043 and 2047, that you will have more persons of color than you will have non-Hispanic white people. The aim is to reduce federal oversight of states, to reduce also states' abilities to protect individuals, and so so that the minority, the majority soon to become the minority, can maintain economic and political power. So what you do is you weaken the legislation. You weaken the law, the precedent that gives us more rights with voting, with just about everything, economic rights. You weaken those federal protections. So then it's just a state-by-state basis. And it is what it is.
And you will need a majority of the Congress in order to try to come back with federal law, even though they will try to challenge federal law. It would take time to go back up through the Supreme Court, but you've got to get the majority of Congress to even get another voting rights bill passed.
Right.
And that means we got to vote with a passion now. Now, the other issue is that some of these states may already have scheduled primaries, and the question is whether this will impact before the primaries this year.
That, and additionally, where we've got in Texas, we've got in Virginia, situations where there has been redistricting, and there have been efforts made, like, with the vote that is now going to be before the state courts in Virginia.
Right.
The voters of Virginia having decided that they wanted to redraw the districts to make sure that there was significant black voting power. That may now be challenged. That may be thrown out simply because of what the Supreme Court has done now.
Right. Oh, it's all wide open.
Yeah.
It's all wide open. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. I'm going to open up the phones. You can talk to us about this as well as other issues. Attorney Jennifer Jones-Austin is with us. Let us take the break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Where in history is this? He said we always go one step forward and two backward. Well, here we are now. The problem is not Trump. The problem is us. We are allowing ourselves to be lowered and our children to feel inferior because you don't have an I am somebody person. You got our artists calling our women bees. Our others calling us niggas. What happened to us? What happened to black and proud? What happened? I'm gonna vote. What happened? Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. What happened to us? We need some room. All right, hold on. Michael Jackson is the highest selling artist of all time. No one has sold more records in the history of the planet than Michael Jackson. But Michael Jackson said to us, he did not want to just raise the issue of what's happening with him. He said that artists all over the world need people to stand up and protect their rights. And he said, Reverend, if we're going to stand up, if it's for all artists, I'm there. As you know, there's a big rally his fan club is doing this afternoon, but he said, I'm coming to Harlem this morning to meet with community leaders because we want justice in the music industry for all artists. Now there'll be some that say, oh, Michael, are you doing this only because of your situation? Michael came to Harlem 2 months ago for the DNC. Now he comes for his own peers. Because we discussed it. Kathy and I talked about how we watched James Brown struggle, Little Richard struggle. We've seen artists, black and white and Latino struggle. Somewhere this has to stop. We do not buy records. We do not buy CDs to give money to the company. We buy it to support the artists that we like. And we want the artists to be free. We don't want the companies bigger than the artists. We want the people respected and the stars that we make stars to shine in the galaxy for us. And let me say this is the 4th of July weekend. Michael Jackson is an American story. Him and his family rode from Gary, Indiana, to where he's an icon all over the world. Didn't no one give him anything. He sung, he danced, he created, he produced, he spent hours in the studio. No executive did that for him. You do not have the right to take from someone what you didn't put in them. He created where he is. We appreciated it. We didn't hear about Michael when he got to Sony. We knew Michael with ABC when he was in Gary. They got thrilled when he did Thriller. We was already thrilled. We were already off the wall. And we're coming off our seats to stand up for justice in the music industry. And let me say one more thing. I don't need that loud talking now. We're on the rail. I want people to hear the message. Let me say something. I read one newspaper say, well, the record company saying they're going to wait and put out the best of Michael Jackson. You can't put out the best of Michael Jackson because the best of Michael Jackson is yet to come. He's still creating. He's still innovating. He's still the king. He's still ours and we are still his. Fans all over the world. Thousands came out in London. Thousands will come out in New York. All over the world, we're going to make it clear that our artists should not be paying back things they had no input in. The promotion budgets. James M. Tuway will lay it out. The video budgets. All of this is charged to the artists, yet the artists have no discretion on what to say. So if they want to buy an ad with their friend, Michael can't tell them buy it in Jet Magazine because they decide the budget and charge it to the artists. That's why many of these artists have no money at the end of their career. But he wanted to fight while he was on top, so it will help your child not have to fight one day to go through what they've had to go through. Sammy Davis Jr. died broke. His wife had to become a waitress. Michael said, I owe it to Sammy. I owe it to James Brown. I owe it to Little Richard. We're going to stop this once and for all.
Letting the joy unfold. I'm living my life like it's golden. 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 Golden. Living my life like it's 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 golden.
I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. Just wait. I believe that.
Good morning, everybody. I hope the coffee has kicked in by now. I want to start by thanking your leader, Reverend Al Sharpton.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is our guest. And let me again say that this decision is going to seriously impact everybody listening, whether you are Democrat or Republican. you no longer can have the protection of the Voting Rights Act to protect you having a district that will reflect the population of your community. And I think that I cannot help but say all of the wise guys that said voting don't matter, you know, you help put us in this position. And all of you that get stuck on, you know, I'm against this person and that person, stop cherry picking who you against and start dealing with the broader issues. Because you just being mad at one person, or whether it be a politician or a broadcaster or something, doesn't mean nothing to the masses of people. They need to understand what's at stake. And Jennifer, I think that, you know, we always have our petty, choices. Well, Reverend, I don't hear you talking against this podcast or against this particular entertainer. And you may be right about them, but we're now talking about everybody's issue. And everybody, some of them may like that entertainer. But it's bigger than that. People need to understand their very rights are being changed and challenged and erased by this administration. That it's not just somebody mad at somebody. Jenny?
This is all intentional. This is part of the plan, and this has been in the works since they actually the legislature moved back in 1965 to establish the Voting Rights Act. There is a chronological history that shows that the minute that these protections were put in place for Black Americans, there were some who went to work to develop cases to keep moving up the chain to ultimately have our voting rights diluted to the point of almost having been diminished. So here we are in a situation because people were cherry picking, as you said, and we're talking about, I don't want to say small issues, but in the grand scheme of things, not the most significant issues. Here we are where you will virtually not be able to have a say in many places in who is your city council person, your congressional leader, and that's in the House and in the Senate, and then we get, and even the Assembly, the State Assembly, the State Senate. We've pretty much done this to ourselves. With I should say, helped those who didn't want us to have the right. We've helped them.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Jay Watkins at Pfizer 1. Is that what that is?
Yes, the Pfizer one just been passed by Congress, and feds got cameras to see through walls, which is a violation of your Fourth Amendment right, and everything like that. They having sex behind those cameras, the federal agents. They murdering, they raping little children.
Hello.
Yeah,
what was that?
Yeah, they raping little children.
Jennifer Jones.
Cameras to see through walls and clothes is a violation of the Fourth Amendment rights and everything like that. Be like the feds is doing all type of stuff, and they haven't made an arrest overseas or nothing. Be like, and that's what the Pfizer one is for, to make arrests overseas, but they're using it on the Americans.
So Pfizer 1 you're talking about is some legislation that they've passed. I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, the Pfizer.
Wait. You can't answer the question if you don't let me ask it.
Okay.
Pfizer 1 says what in the legislation?
Pfizer warrant, not one. Pfizer warrant. Warrant. LWARRANT. Pfizer warrant. Not Pfizer 1. Pfizer warrant. Pfizer 1 is stating that they can watch people without having a judge approval. They can go overseas and everything like that and watch people, and they can watch people in the United States. They got cameras to see, feds got cameras to see through walls, which is a violation of the Fourth Amendment right, which they've been using, and how many people they done arrested over the course of 20 years using those cameras. And NBC sold them cameras to see through walls and see through clothes. That's the whole point of the situation where Congress just passed the FISA warrant, not FISA 1, FISA warrant. FISA warrant, where they can watch somebody without a judge approval, without taking it to the judge every 6 months and saying, "Hey, we got this guy selling drugs, or this guy is doing something illegal that's federal. We need your approval, judge." No, they don't go through that. They just basically get a warrant without a judge approval and start watching you for 20 to 30 years.
So it's FISA warrant. Okay, thank you for that. I thank you for that. That is, I need to bring. I'm getting the research team to bring that into me, Jenny, because that sounds again, FISA warrant does sound like a violation of your Fourth Amendment rights. It's not FISA 1, it's FISA warrant.
Yes, FISA warrant.
Okay.
That's a violation of your Fourth, because the cameras see through walls and see through clothes. So it's a violation of your Fourth Amendment right.
Right. And thank you for your call. Dorothy Vaughn is saying on our message board they're already watching you through your television. And I think FISA warrant gives them the right to do whatever they want to do. But I want to get the specific breakdown. But Dorothy Vaughn is saying exactly right. I don't understand why everyone is mad about something and miss out on what really matters, but that anger down. I think, and I think that is what I'm trying to say to people, is I understand the anger, Jenny. Nobody been more angry than me. I've been fighting all my life when folks wasn't angry. But don't guide your anger in a direction that doesn't deal with what you're angry about. We helped them put us in this position by turning on each other, attacking each other, and they say, fine, let us run this flag up the pole and take all of their rights, because they fighting each other over who shot John, or I don't like your style, or you ain't saying it the way I want to say it. It doesn't matter. Let everybody do what they're supposed to do as long as we all are trying to get the same thing done. And the result is they stack that court and they coming at all of our rights. And this is a major piece of it. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, Jones Austin. Be right back.
keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive on tomorrow night and beyond. Young America, hold your head high now. We can win. You must never stop dreaming. Face reality, yes, but don't stop with the way things are. Dream of things as they ought to be. Dream. Face pain, but love, hope, faith, and dreams will help you rise above the pain. Use hope and imagination as weapons of survival and progress, but you keep on dreaming, young America. Dream of peace. Peace is rational and reasonable. War is irrational in this age and unwinnable. Dream of teachers who teach for life and not for living. Dream of doctors who are concerned more about public health than private wealth. Dream of lawyers more concerned about justice and the judgeship. Dream of preachers who are concerned more about prophecy than profiteering. Dream on the high road with sound values. You must never surrender to inequality. Women.
In London, yeah. We've got many problems there. We need you over our side. Yeah, you're invited anytime, please. Whenever you want to come.
There we go.
Guys! What's up, Doc?
So we are in not a political dilemma, we are in a moral dilemma. And if the black church does not come with a prophetic voice, then who's gonna do it? We can go through all the data, all the statistics, all we're going through in the workshops, but the question is, where is the action gonna be? We all believe in Jesus. Jesus didn't teach theology, he healed people. And they learned the nature of the theology based on his healing. We got to heal this nation. And if we heal this nation, the nation will return to our churches. But we've become silent and compromised. And we try to blame it on, I'm not in this. You are in this. You live it, your members live it. Unemployment now is higher now than it's been since the pandemic. Yet we survive. Yes, sir. There's no history in the world of any people that went through the kind of psychological, cultural, and physical slavery like blacks did in America. The only reason we're still here is because of our faith. We had no external strength, we had an internal strength. And it was the God that we were taught by our mamas and grandmamas that brought us through. And I don't care who's sitting in the White House, we cannot betray the God that brought us through.
Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on.
Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now black vice president.
I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we have Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin with us today, co-hosting, giving this devastating Supreme Court decision. And let me remind you, by way of announcements, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton is certainly going to deal with this. I'm going to have some of our leading senators and members of Congress on how we, state by state, have to have a state-by-state strategy to deal with this voting rights decision. Make sure you watch Politics Nation both nights, Saturday and Sunday, on MS Now. I'll also be dealing with, of course, what is going on with Iran and these gas prices skyrocketing, and what we need to deal with, putting pressure on our local officials about that, and the Affordable Care Act. People are calling me at National Action Network just outraged at the premiums, how they've risen, and nobody's talking about that. But Jenny, let's go back to before I go to the phones, Jenny, I want people to have a real understanding of the gravity of this decision. Because I think too many people act as though their vote is somehow remote from their reality, when their vote or lack of vote shapes their reality. It shapes where you live, what your interest rates are if you own a home, your mortgage rates, if you're paying rent, what your rent rates are. It decides the food you eat, whether you're a health food person like me or eat soul food. It determines that because it all has to be approved by the federal FDA. You don't just eat. I don't care what store you go to. It had to be approved to be on the shelf. That's a matter of voting. Who's in office decides that. Right now, you have Robert Kennedy Jr. changing health laws. So I think people don't really understand that you can talk all you want. You do not escape the reach of voting or not voting. And to talk about it like you do really does not expose the system. It exposes your ignorance because you're in this. I do not understand how intelligent people act like they're oblivious to their own circumstance. I don't care who you are, from your rent to your mortgage to your car to your getting on a mass train. All of that is determined by somebody was elected. And if you choose or select to not deal with who's elected, then you're just forfeiting participation. But you're not taking yourself out the system. You are in, whether be victim or participant, you're in the system. Jenny?
She just hung up, sir.
All
She
right,
has a speaking engagement.
I think we lost her. She'll be back. But I think that, I wanted to give that wake-up call because people act like, well, Reverend Al, I'm not with y'all with it. You don't have an option of having to deal with the results of the system. Now, you had the option of not exercising your right to participate, but either way, you eating, sleeping, buying clothes that the federal apparel government said, all right, it's all right to sell that. You're in it now. Let's go to Still Bill in Cincinnati, Ohio. Still Bill, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
This is the day the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton.
Good afternoon.
And good afternoon to you, Miss Jones.
She's she had to run and make her speech. She's gonna call back in.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I want to give a shout out to Lincoln Ware, Terrence Howard, and the Buzz crew over at WBBZ, The Buzz, to where I listened to this excellent radio show. I want to comment about Donald Trump and his third attempt. I believe in that play, Your Arms Are Too Short to Box with God. Well, he came short of the bullet once again. And I just tell you that it's just incredible that he's not affected at all. In fact, it's like he gets a high out of the fact that he's hated in that kind of form. And I mean, it's just really sickening. And, I don't really want anything to really happen to him, except for the fact that I just wish that there was some kind of other way that he just get out of office, because it's just sickening. And I tell you, he's at a point where he just goes after anybody he wants to go after, and he's going after Jimmy Kimmel again. And he needs to leave the man alone. I mean, the man is a comedian. He's a talk show host. It's his job, to entertain, our audience and everything. And it's just where he just needs to just grow up and stop, going about using his position to go after anybody he wants to, and the comment that he made about Trump's wife and everything, I got a kick out of it. But you know what? Trump turned around, made a comment about, somebody else. But, it's like I said, he needs to grow up. And I'm going to cut it short because I know you got callers and everything. And I always respected this show. So that's what I do. I cut it short and everything to show you the respect that you truly deserve, because I get the opportunity to speak and everything. And I appreciate speaking on your show. I really do.
All right.
And I agree with what you said.
All right. Thank you for your call.
Say,
let's go. Let me on the message board say Frank Brown says everything is political per the Reverend Haywood Henry, president of Black Universal Unitarian Caucus, said it in 1970. It is political. You let me tell you something. When you was born, you and I, they gave you a birth certificate. That means that your very existence was certified by the system. And they identified you, your gender, your race, your parents' name. They signing you into the system. You're a baby, few minutes old. So quit deluding yourself and quit letting other people delude you. Let's go to Disco Brian in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. WURD. Disco Brian.
Can you hear me? Hey, Rev.
Hey.
Yes, Rev. Those of us who stand with Nan, those of us who stand with social justice and love and decency, cannot be fighting each other over who likes who. But the challenge, or maybe I should say, and Rev, the challenge, as I have learned from you, is that before we unify, don't we have to be clear about who we are and what we stand for?
Yeah, but we need to be clear about it by affirming who we are and what we stand for, not just nitpicking, attacking those that are not with us. Rather, there are people listening to us, thousands of people listening to us every day. If all I talked about is, I caught this one doing this, or I caught this one doing that, nobody interested in that. You need to talk about how it deals with their circumstance. So if I don't like Joe Blow, they may not even know who Joe Blow is and could care less. So I'm wasting their time or they're going to another station. I'm saying you put out a clean glass rather than continue to show the dirty glass. We know they're dirty glasses.
I love it. Rev, I'm just saying, like, I hear you, and, you know, you're 100% right all the time. Just because, I mean, I'm not going to take issue with someone who's, again, been anointed by everybody from Mahalia to James Brown to Coretta Scott King. So you're not going to. I'm not putting on gloves with you and getting into a ring with you, Rev.
No. I don't say that in that spirit.
No, I know. And here's my thing: unity without moral clarity, the kind that you sermonize on every Saturday, and at length every time you're on television or radio.
Right.
Unity without moral clarity leads us into dangerous contradictions, where people in the same coalition are aligning with voices or figures whose values reject or at least don't reflect the very core principles of NAN, the principles of justice, equality, and nonviolence. So, Rev, I have three connecting concerns to discuss today. Yesterday I called about why now is the time for that serious interfaith dialogue among Christians, Jews, and Muslims who are openly denouncing violence and hate.
Right.
And I want to extend that today through these connected examples. First, Van Jones, who won a Triumph Award, just did an excellent breakdown of Hassan Piker's claim that Hamas is, quote, 1,000 times better than Israel. Van draws a distinction between liberation movements whose ends and means are about expanding freedom, armed liberation movements from the Black Panthers here in the U.S. to South Africa's anti-apartheid movement, versus groups like Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis, and Iran-backed authoritarian movements which use liberation language while imposing violence, domination, and less freedom for the people they're claiming to represent. It is a brilliant takedown, which I wish I could. It's up on Twitter, on Van Jones's Twitter account, and it's just. I mean, I want to crown it, and I wish it was mandatory for everybody to watch. Second, Rev, here in the Pennsylvania District 3 primary, there's a very revealing contrast happening right now. Muslim State Senator Sharif Street has the endorsements of Philadelphia building trades, AFSCME DC 33, firefighters, laborers, plumbers, steam fitters, nurses, longshoremen, sheet metal workers, iron workers, and the Philly AFL-CIO. Whereas, Rev, his supposedly progressive opponent, Chris Rabb, whose brand and lane is this working class, so-called, he has virtually no support from any labor unions, but instead He's out here bragging about his endorsements from AOC and Ilhan and Justice Democrats and Working Families Party and DSA. And tomorrow, the millionaire Twitch streamer Hassan Piker is flying out here from LA to campaign with Chris Rabb. So once again, Rev, I hear your question. Progressive for who? Is progressive rooted in actual working people and local coalition building, or in national ideological branding? It's just a thought for those of us listening here on WURD in Philly. And third, Rev, lastly, this raises a bigger media accountability question. In the age of social media, Rev, do you think journalists, commentators, and political figures should fully understand who they're elevating before giving them a platform? Because if your job is to report what's happening in politics, don't you also have to understand what's happening in the online political
I
media?
would say generally that you're absolutely right. And I think that we ought to know and be very discerning on what we support. All I'm saying is I'm not going to eat up a lot of time on people that I got people on the message board right now saying I don't know I don't live in Philly. So what I'm saying on a national show, fine, you can make a statement, but don't take 5 minutes away because everybody else is not in your district. And let us deal with the broad issues that everybody's concerned about. We're in a day that we got hit heavy. And let's not miss the forest for the trees. All right, let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. Just wait. I believe that.
Good morning, everybody. I hope the coffee has kicked in by now. I want to start by thanking your leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton, and everyone at the National Action Network for 35 years of standing up for civil rights and opportunity for everyone.
And I couldn't be more grateful for the way that you have blessed the lives of so many, including mine.
As we look today on King Day, let us not forget that we had to struggle to even have this day. They did not wake up one morning and say, let's give a federal holiday to Martin Luther King. People petitioned. People marched. Let us remember now as we bring our children and grandchildren up the Potomac that they can see the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, and one memorial that never served as president but changed this country more than any other American, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
This was an amazing MLK breakfast.
It is truly an honor, and more importantly, this is an important day for us.
I feel incredibly lucky and honored to be in this room on this day, celebrating Dr. King's legacy of civil rights, especially in the moment that we're facing on a national level. It feels like warmth and home being in this room.
So I'm encouraged by today. I'm encouraged that we're getting out, we're protesting, but more needs to be done. We need to lean in.
And let's keep fighting because the job is not done here. And I just feel so honored to get this award. It's not about getting an award, it's about doing the work. And let's keep up with the work.
Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich Newton, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are
is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house, house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, it's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are. Because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you.
extremely important about the funding, but I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight in the courts and the streets, because they're literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started in Harvard with a black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance as they could fight in the 50s. It ACP with the Defense Fund together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in the Senate.
Where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Let's go right back to the phones. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to Ray in Cincinnati, Ohio. Ray, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call, Rev. A couple of things on this Supreme Court decision in Louisiana and what the Republicans are doing with this redistricting. I think it's going to backfire. People got to keep in mind that Republicans, if you see what goes on at these town hall meetings, they're furious. Now, they may not vote Democrat. They just may not vote at all. So, I mean, even before this redistricting ever got started, I was hearing that the Democrats, which is usually par for the midterms, is going to take back the House anyway. So whatever they do, in these states, you know, Democrats are doing the same thing. I'm thinking one state may offset the other state. And because the Democrats were...
If we vote, they're not going to offset Ray just automatically. If some Republicans don't come out and vote, you still will not get what you want if you don't come out and vote, because the few voters that the Republicans have will still win if we don't vote.
Yeah, if we vote, you're right. And then my thing is, you know, white folks, MAGA, Black MAGA, they didn't vote for high gas prices. They didn't vote for the war. You know, the Epstein. They didn't vote for massive job cuts and layoffs. They didn't vote for that. Trump lied, and you know, they know he lied. So in my opinion, you know, I think that's what's going to happen. But I wish Jenny was back, because I wanted to ask her, and maybe you know, if Democrats take back the House and the Senate because of what the Supreme Court did in Louisiana, how does that affect the census all of a sudden? You know, because every 10 years there still is a census. You know.
Well, the way it affects the census, the census tells you how many people in the country, and then breaks it down by state, by city, by district. But the way it affects it is, you're in Cincinnati. If you say in the next census, right, that there are X amount of people in Cincinnati, this percentage of them are black, therefore there ought to be 3 black districts. This court ruling said, no, you can't talk about the percentage of blacks and what they should get. So it does not affect the numbers in the census. It affects how you can break the numbers down to make sure everyone is included and not discriminated against. That's where it affects it.
Okay, and lastly, you asked the question earlier, are people blind? They don't know? Rev, they know. They know. They don't care. They rather somebody else call their shots and how they live, and they'll still complain. We have them here in Cincinnati. They complain all the time about how their lives are miserable, high gas prices. But then when you ask them, would you still vote for Trump? They'll say, yeah. So they know, they don't care, and I don't know how you reach those people, but the people that can be reached, better vote. Your life is depending on it. All right, Rev.
I think that it's like I'm a preacher, been one all my life. You're not going to convert everybody. So you work with the converted and you keep trying to convert the unconverted. And I think that we've got to be able to be conscious enough to just do that. I'm not going to get everybody. I'm going to try. I'm not going to discriminate against anybody. But I'm going to work with what I got. James Brown used to say in a song, you got to use what you got to get what you want. And I think that that's the kind of work ethic that I work from, which is why we rally every week. A lot of people say, why is Nan always out there? Because we never not out there. We one of the few organizations that have weekly gatherings and on the radio and television every day. So I'm not going to, in searching for the unbeliever, I'm going to search for them. I'm going to try to convert them. But I'm also going to feed the people that we do have. And I think that's the important thing, because you can't neglect those that you have and go off and try to get in the, I won't even say get others with you, but to get in a debate with people that don't want to be convinced. One of the things that I've learned is some people are more determined not to be with you than to hear what you got to say. And that's like arguing against that wall. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Keeping it real. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton time. It's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. You need to keep it real with Reverend Al Sharpton right here on Uber TV. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton.
Happy 20th anniversary to Reverend Al Sharpton on 20 years of Keeping It Real. 2 decades of truth-telling, fearless advocacy, and keeping the people informed and empowered. Thank you for always speaking power to justice and standing firm for what's right. Here's to 20 years of impact and many more to come.
I'm down in Tribeca, right next to the Narrow, but I'll be hood forever. I'm the new Sinatra, and since I made it here, I can make it anywhere. Yeah, they love me everywhere. I used to cop in Harlem, all of my Dominicanos right there up on Broadway. Pulled me back to that McDonald's, took it to my stash spot, 560 State Street. Catch me in the kitchen like a Simmons whipping pastry. Cruising down A Street, off-white Lexus, driving so slow, but BK is from Texas. Me, I'm out that Bed-Stuy, home of that boy Biggie. Now I live on Billboard, and I brought my boys with me. Say what up to Tata, still sipping my top. Sitting courtside, Knicks and Nets give me high five. I be spiked out, I could trip a referee. Tell by my attitude that I most definitely from.
Don't get it twisted. Everybody hollering loud ain't saying something. We need activists that are at large, but we need those that will continue these institutions and these organizations. If you are what you should be, you don't have to have nobody step aside. People will push you up.
Reverend Sharpton, how do we begin to make peace with our past?
I don't think it's our obligation to make peace with our past. I think it's our obligation to learn from our past and to understand that soon we gonna be the past. I mean, a lot of us act like we gonna be permanent and that the past is the past. If we draw on the strengths of the past and uphold the dignity and the integrity of our people, and then perform it at our highest level in our generation, as Dr. Moss said, that's our obligation. You know, one of the reasons that I've been so concerned about this cultural tone that we're in now is a lot of us have lost the dignity that our community has shown from Jamestown to now. I've questioned some of the artists that no longer sing to uplift us. And there's never been a generation that didn't use our music and our culture to lift us up. And the excuse is where they say, well, we just want to show what's there. But we never just accepted what was there. We always looked at what was there and looked through it and brought our people the way it needed to be. So in slavery time, we were singing Go Down Moses and Swing Low Sweet Chariot. We wasn't singing about the cotton picking nigga in the field. That's what we saw, but that's not what we sang. In slavery, in segregation time, we were singing We Shall Overcome. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We wasn't singing the hoe in the back of the bus. So where is this coming from? And that's what we need to challenge. I wish, all of this about our friend Barack announced it today. I wish Obama had announced here, because Lincoln did not free us. The abolitionist movement freed us. Lincoln accommodated to freedom fighters. He was not a freedom fighter. Kennedy accommodated the king. Johnson accommodated the king. We got to quit giving the wrong people credit for our history. it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and you know I've been on the phones. I'm getting some of our leading senators and members of Congress ready to be on the not keeping it real. I'm gonna have one or two of them for the week is out, and the main ones on Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, Saturday and Sunday, on how do we deal with where we go from here with the Voting Rights Act. Just gut it out. I mean, that's what they did. And what is the strategy? What do we do? What does it mean? And how do we offset it? So watch Politics Nation if you never watched it, or tell your friends if they ever watch it this weekend, because we always think everything's on the line. Well, it is. The rubber has hit the road now. So watch it Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now. And be at the rally Saturday if you're in the tri-state area. Don't just sit up at the coffee table and listen to it on the radio. Be in the house at the historic Mother AME Zion Church, 137th Street and Lenox Avenue, 9 a.m. to 11. This is extremely important. We all be out to get the strategy on where we're going to offset. We probably going to have to send people in different parts of the country to do certain mobilization in certain states. It's going to be a very serious rally on Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Mother AME Zion, which is 137th Street between 7th and Lenox in Harlem. For you that are around the country, you can watch it live on Impact Television or at www.nationalactionnetwork.net, our live stream, or YouTube/NAN, YouTube/NAN. All right, let's go right back to the phones. A lot of callers, and I want to try to get in everybody. Joanna Kemp is on the message board saying they just asked Hegseth if the U.S. obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons, how are they a threat now? Absolutely a great question, Joanne. They said that they'd already destroyed them months ago, and what are they in there now talking about there's a threat now? You're either lying then or you're lying now. And my opinion, you're lying both times. And Rodney Jones, the mayor of Queensbridge Houses, said Chief Justice Roberts and Uncle Ruckus Thomas are smiling. Wickedness. And you know, some people said, oh, I think Judge Roberts is going with us. Well, he didn't. I assume Thomas is going to be over there. But Roberts going to split the apple. No, he didn't. He went with them. Straight up. And that, if some of you that listen to the show, I said when they denied Trump the hearing on what he wanted, I said, I hope they're not doing this so they can deny us the Voting Rights Act. And unfortunately, that's what happened. Trump was mad they wouldn't listen to his petition or his case. And they said, we're going to slap your hand, but you're going to hug us in a minute. And they turned around and did all of us in today. Let's go to Dell in Atlanta, Georgia. Dell, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hey, first of all, I'd like to say it's an honor to talk to you, Al.
Honor's mine.
And I always said to myself, man, to speak with someone with so much high intelligence that I have for you and the things that I know that you have went through for us as people through decades and decades. I mean, you have been through marches and marches, and you may have walked out as one man thinking that it's only one man when we all look at one time to vote and thinking it doesn't matter, but you walked out and as one person and made a difference in life through decades, took a stabbing in 91. I really admire you because it shows me how faithful you are. I'm just trying to just let you know that it's so much going on right now to where I had to embrace my wife this morning and didn't know how to embrace her when you don't know how to speak on things. When the voters' right went through, she started crying because she said, look at Clarence Thomas and Amy Barrett and all these here people who done got into this with what was voted in the days when they needed it. Now they acting like it's not needed no more. We all out here discouraged, Brother Al, and I look at you with your energy, and I'm like, how do he do it? You wake up at 4 a.m. every morning, do what you got to do, and then Politic Nation I watch every weekend, and I'm like, he goes behind the scene to find these people. It's not that they come to him. He has to find these people so that he can be that journalist to interview them and to get these talk show hosts on his show. I said, this man worked just unconditionally. And why can't we just go to the voters group? But I said all that to say this, Brother Al. I don't know right now. I didn't start voting until Barack Obama came into the scene, and I'm up in age.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want you to know that I'm getting discouraged because, and I'm trying to find the faith in the power that you got, because I'm saying if the voters' right was rejected and they taken all these seats, if we vote, do we actually, as our voice counted?
Yeah,
I don't want,
that's a great
that's
question.
Where a lot of people are.
That's a great.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of people are at. The young people are right there.
No,
The young
you
people
asking
are
a
saying,
great question, and I appreciate what you said, Dale. I appreciate your passion, because we're gonna need to be emotional about it. The answer is, let me say this: Jesse Johnson is on the message board. He in part answers what I'm getting ready to say. So hold him up, and I'll go to it. If we vote, it will count, because what they're counting on is that we won't vote. And they have all these districts where we're lower numbers, and those lower numbers won't come out. If the lower numbers come out, even if we're not in the districts where they're majority, and their numbers don't come out because they feel it's already set, good, it's a Republican district, we can win. And at least cause them some defeat. So yeah, it counts now more than ever. What they want to see is they broke our spirit. What they need to see is, we took the Voting Rights Act from them, and these people voted more than they ever voted before. When we look at the price paid to get us a right to vote, it has to be more than one Supreme Court decision that would make us turn around now. I don't expect them to stop, because they never wanted us to vote. But they should never expect us to stop, because we earned that right. We built this country. So this is going to come down to which community is the most determined. It's going to come, it's like a fight. I used to like to go to boxing matches. It's going to be decided by both sides got rounds they won, and both of them are exhausted. The fight is going to go to the one that wants it the most, that'll stand on their feet even if they've been beat down, and keep swinging until the other one goes down. And that's why I get up 4 o'clock in the morning. That's why I'm in the gym 5:15, 5:30 every morning. I am going to stay up for the fight. And Petty Gerbil, is this Petty Gruab? I can't read your handle, but read that says America is now headed back to segregation, or rather super segregation, because there are more minorities in the South and the North than before, and we will now see millions of black people lose. Yeah, if we let them. And I think that that is the sad part. We must turn to each other and build. And I was going to read do we have Johnson's? I thought we had Jesse Johnson, I said to put up. There he is. Says Jesse Johnson says Reverend Al Sharpton keep it real because he had the lower behind him and he had the best, as his mother told him. And he talks about how Dr. King and Reverend Jackson came, and I learned that I'm on that path. I don't think we'll ever see another Dr. King or Reverend Jackson, but you'll see those of us that was affected by them that's going to do our little part in their tradition. And I believe that Dorothy Vaughan is saying, if God is for us, who can be against us? And it looks like they all are. And they all have been against righteous people before, and they still won. You know, your faith is not tested by when everything's going your way. Your faith is tested when it looks like the whole world is against you, and you don't back up anyhow. I've been here before. When we have fought cases, and the juries would look at the facts and say not guilty of a policeman killing somebody and or some other egregious act. But we kept going until we started turning that around. You have to have the faith. Your faith is not faith if everything's going your way. Faith is when it looks like it's all over and you hold on anyhow. When you believe when it don't make sense. That's faith. And too many of us just have a little nudge. Oh, well, everything's going my way. I'll hold on a little while. No, when it looks like a reverse like today, now we'll see how much faith you got. Jesse Johnson says, Reverend Al, keep it real. You've been taught by the best, by the little Dr. King, Jesse Jackson, and your mother taught you well. Keep hope alive. I'm going to keep hope alive. I am going to keep the faith, as Adam Clayton Powell used to say, and keep hope alive, as Jesse Jackson used to say. And I thank God I was blessed to know both of them. So I have no excuse. And I'm trying to share that with everybody else. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there. And act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're going to have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep agitating. And I'm going to keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time. Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this, the only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again.
Yeah, I'm out at Brooklyn. Now I'm down in Tribeca, right next to De Niro. But I'll be hood forever. I'm the new Sinatra. And since I made it here, I can make it anywhere. Yeah, they love me everywhere. I used to cop in Harlem. All of my Dominicanos right there up on Broadway. Pulled me back to that McDonald's. Took it to my stash spot, 560 State Street. Catch me in the kitchen like a Simmons whipping pastry. Cruising down A Street, off-white Lexus. Driving so slow, but BK is from Texas. Me, I'm out that Bed-Stuy, home of that boy Biggie. Now I live on Billboard, and I brought my boys with me. Say what up to Tata, still sipping my top. Sitting courtside, Knicks and Nets give me high five. I be spiked out, I could trip a referee. Tell by my attitude that I most definitely from.
Don't get it twisted. Everybody hollering loud ain't saying something. We need activists that are at large, but we need those that will continue these institutions and these organizations. If you are what you should be, you don't have to have nobody step aside. People will push you up.
All over the world today, people are gathered in love vigils to celebrate the life of a man that taught the world how to love. People may be wondering why there's such an emotional outburst, but you would have to understand the journey of Michael to understand what he meant to all of us. For these that sit here as the Jackson family, a mother and father with 9 children that rose from a working class family in Gary, Indiana. They had nothing but a dream. No one believed in those days that these kind of dreams could come true. But they kept on believing, and Michael never let the world turn him around from his dreams. I first met Michael around 1970, Black Expo, Chicago, Illinois, Reverend Jesse Jackson, who stood by this family till now. And from that day as a cute kid to this moment, he never gave up dreaming. It was that dream that changed culture all over the world. When Michael started, it was a different world. But because Michael kept going, because he didn't accept limitations, because he refused to let people decide his boundaries, he opened up the whole world. In the music world, he put on one glove, pulled his pants up, and broke down the color curtain, where now our videos are shown and magazines put us on the cover. It was Michael Jackson that brought blacks and whites and Asians and Latinos together. It was Michael Jackson that made us sing "We Are the World" and feed the hungry long before Live Aid. Because Michael Jackson kept going, he created a comfort level where people that felt they were separate became interconnected with his music. And it was that comfort level that kids from Japan and Ghana and France and Iowa and Pennsylvania got comfortable enough with each other to later it wasn't strange to us to watch Oprah on television. It wasn't strange to watch Tiger Woods golf. Those young kids grew up from being teenage, comfortable fans of Michael to being 40 years old and being comfortable to vote for a person of color to be the president of the United States of America. Michael did that. Michael made us love each other. Michael taught us to stand with each other. There are those that like to dig around mess, but millions around the world, we're going to uphold his message. It's not about mess, it's about his love message. As you climb up steep mountains, sometimes you scar your knee. Sometimes you break your skin, but don't focus on the scars. Focus on the journey. Michael beat him. Michael rose to the top. He outsang his cynics. He outdanced his doubters. He outperformed the pessimists. Every time he got knocked down, he got back up. Every time you counted him out, he came back in. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. I want to thank to Mrs. Jackson and Joe Jackson, his sisters and brothers. We thank you for giving us someone that taught us love, someone that taught us hope. We want to thank you because we know it was your dream too. And we know that your heart is broken. I know you have some comfort from the letter from the President of the United States and Nelson Mandela, but this was your child. This was your brother. This was your cousin. Nothing will fill your heart's loss. But I hope the love that people are showing will make you know he didn't live in vain. And I want his 3 children to know. Wasn't nothing strange.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. And you can also go on the message board at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. I see Fred Bertza says, faith without work is dead. James 2:17 in the Bible. And that's exactly what I was saying before the commercial. That if you don't have work, if you don't face challenges, you don't have faith. Easy to have faith when everything's going your way. But it's when you're facing awesome mountains to climb, and you climb anyhow. Feel like your legs gonna give out, and you keep pumping. Because you believe that if I keep going, I can turn this around. I knew deep down when Donald Trump was elected back, he was going to try and enact Project 2025, which was to reverse everything the civil rights movement in the 60s had accomplished. And I was not surprised, but I'm energized. I was not surprised a lot of us were not energized. The day he was inaugurated was one of the coldest days of the year. Had a storm in Washington. It was so bad that they had to do his inauguration indoors, not on the Capitol steps. We took buses from all over the country and went to and packed Metropolitan AME Church in Washington. Packed it. And I said then that you need to take an oath. Just like he's going to put his hand on that Bible and take an oath, you need to take an oath. And the thousands that were there took an oath with us. And I'm going to keep that oath. And I took it knowing they would probably, I said it that day, that they was probably going to do what they did today. Gut the Voting Rights Act. Not extend the Affordable Care Act. Go after DEI. He said it. This ain't none of this a surprise. He told you. But what he can't tell you is that some of us come from those that fought to get those things in the first place. And some of us we owe it to our ancestors to at least return the things that they're taking from us. And I hear Hakeem Smith on the message board saying, I'm tired. I am too tired too, but I'm more tired of what they're doing to us. So you just got to find strength from somewhere and keep going. I'm not as tired as they got. They bombed their houses. They put them in jail for no reason. They never made any money, but they kept fighting. That's whose blood is in our veins. Fighters, warriors, gladiators. We're not the blood heirs of quitters, weak people. It's not in our blood. Reclaim your bloodline and stand up and say, okay, you got a good shot and you stacked the Supreme Court, but it's not over. I owe that to my grandma. I owe it to my mother. I owe it to my mentors, Reverend Jackson and others. It's not over. You got a shot over, a good shot over. But don't take your gloves off because the fight's not over. I'm still in the ring. I like that answer. Bruce Turner said, I'm fighting for my grandchildren. Thomas Wimberly saying, I'm trying to say, says, I'd rather be tired opposed to being erased. Taquika Wimberly said that. Tanaqua Wimberly said, I like that. I'd rather be tired opposed to being erased, because that's what they're trying to do. Let's go to Philadelphia to Brother Jacob. Brother Jacob, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Peace be unto you, Reverend Sharpton, and your worldwide listeners. You know, Rev, I don't know what's worse. The Rodney King-style beating that I seen them put on that innocent man there, the two narcotics officers, right? Or the beating that the Supreme Court just delivered to black voters, right? But it really don't surprise me. Like you said, this is nothing new, right? That they do things to, again, suppress. This is another. I guess we got to start guessing how many jelly beans is in the bowl, right?
Mhm.
Stuff like that. Whatever they can pull to do that. But again, we're not surprised, and we're not going to give up. But you know what it shows me, Reverend? Now it's time for the real white people to show what kind of America do we really want here, right? Since you see what they're trying to do to us, you see what they've been doing to us, I think, for almost 400 years, and we still fighting, and we gonna keep on fighting, because like you said, Reverend Al, we got the spirit of our ancestors in us, and they didn't give up, and we ain't gonna give up. But again, we ain't never gonna get the ones that drank the mega Kool-Aid, so we can forget about trying to get them. But the ones that say, I'm independent, I'm this, I'm the good people that had the Republican Party before Trump hijacked it, right? Them people that really, what they said, what kind of America do they want? The one that the language of the Statue of Liberty, right? What that was supposed to be about, that America, where it was even racism in that, Rev, because we know that when the French sent the original Statue of Liberty, she was depicting really a black woman, right?
And they were celebrating the end of slavery.
Yes. And but they were so racist that they couldn't have that.
Right.
No, we can't put that the way that nose looked. That looked like a black woman. So we gonna do what we do to show the depth of the racism and when we say institutionalized racism, that's just what we mean. And until we stop kicking this racist can down the road for another generation to deal with, because imagine that the same things that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King was fighting for, here we are in 2026 fighting the same battle. Why? Because white America don't want to face up to what is real. Keeping it real. Evidently, they ain't trying to keep it real, but it's time now that we face, what they say, face the music or face whatever you got to face. We're going to have to face that and get this thing, Look, the king yesterday, Rev, the king, he even gave the American people a civics lesson on the Constitution. And he was talking about how in other words, y'all got to check the executive branch. He was telling them, and Trump was talking about, I wish I know protocol, but I wish I could go there, because they didn't want him there. You ain't got no business there. The man spoke still what we should already know as American citizens. Rev, look, I'm like Disco Brian from Philadelphia here. We just love the fact, brother, that we got somebody in you that's fighting the good fight, not only for black people, but for all people. So that's a good thing, Rev. It's just an honor, like Disco Brian always say, and all the other calls. It's an honor just to even talk to you, my brother. So Reverend Joe here at Philadelphia always tell people, you just keep on doing what you do, and God be with you.
Well, I appreciate y'all. I'm honored by you and Disco Brian, everybody that's with us every day, because whatever value I've had is because of people that never had their face shown on TV or on a radio station, but came out there to them rallies and marches and helped us make a difference. So let me be real clear. I understand that we're standing on the shoulders of y'all that will hold us up, and I appreciate it. Thank you for your call, and thank you for your words. I think that, again, they've hit us in the gut. We got to shake it off and keep fighting. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
We need some room. All right, hold on. Michael Jackson is the highest selling artist of all time. No one has sold more records in the history of the planet than Michael Jackson. But Michael Jackson said to us, he did not want to just raise the issue of what's happening with him. He said that artists all over the world need people to stand up and protect their rights. And he said, Reverend, if we're going to stand up, if it's for all artists, I'm there. As you know, there's a big rally his fan club is doing this afternoon, but he said, I'm coming to Harlem this morning to meet with community leaders because we want justice in the music industry for all artists. Now there'll be some that say, oh, Michael, are you doing this only because of your situation? Michael came to Harlem 2 months ago for the DNC. Now he comes for his own peers. Because we discussed it. Kathy and I talked about how we watched James Brown struggle, Little Richard struggle. We've seen artists, black and white and Latino struggle. Somewhere this has to stop. We do not buy records. We do not buy CDs to give money to the company. We buy it to support the artists that we like. And we want the artists to be free. We don't want the companies bigger than the artists. We want the people respected and the stars that we make stars to shine in the galaxy for us. And let me say this is the 4th of July weekend. Michael Jackson is an American story. Him and his family rode from Gary, Indiana, to where he's an icon all over the world. Didn't no one give him anything. He sung, he danced, he created, he produced, he spent hours in the studio. No executive did that for him. You do not have the right to take from someone what you didn't put in them. He created where he is. We appreciated it. We didn't hear about Michael when he got to Sony. We knew Michael at ABC when he was in Gary. They got thrilled when he did Thriller. We was already thrilled. We were already off the wall. And we coming off our seats to stand up for justice in the music industry. And let me say one more thing. I don't need that loud talking. Now we're on the rail. I want people to hear the message. Let me say something. I read one newspaper said, well, the record company saying they're going to wait and put out the best of Michael Jackson. You can't put out the best of Michael Jackson because the best of Michael Jackson is yet to come. He's still creating. He's still innovating. He's still the king. He's still ours, and we're still here
came out in London. Thousands will come out in New York. All over the world, we're going to make it clear that our artists should not be paying back things they had no input in. The promotion budgets. James M. Two-Way will lay it out. The video budgets. All of this is charged to the artists, yet the artists have no discretion on what to say. So if they want to buy an ad with their friend, Michael can't tell them buy it in Jet Magazine because they decide the budget and charge it to the artists. That's why many of these artists have no money at the end of their career. But he wanted to fight while he was on top, so it will help your child not have to fight one day to go through what they've had to go through. Sammy Davis Jr. died broke. His wife had to become a waitress. Michael said, I owe it to Sammy. I owe it to James Brown. I owe it to Little Richard. We're going to stop this once and for all.
Letting the joy unfold. I'm living my life like it's golden. 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 Golden. Living my life like it's 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 golden.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Let's go right back to the phones, and I'm going to hit the message board as well at 1-877-532-5797. And, of course, the message board is at nationalactionnetwork.net. nationalactionnetwork.net. Ray Wilson on message board says Republican voters can't be happy with where Republican politicians have taken us. That white thing is stronger than them having decent lives. Some of them, Ray is exactly right. You know, some of them were raised with, yeah, it's hard, but at least you ain't them. Not understanding that we ain't their problem. I think that it is crazy. Jesse Johnson said, Reverend Al Sharpton, keep it real, Public Enemy, fight the power. That's an old rap song, and it's a true song, too. It is. I remember when they did fight the power. I was leading marches in Howard Beach section of Queens, New York, where they killed a black kid. And Chuck D and them did fight the power. Spike Lee put it in a movie. All of us come up together. Let's go to Nicola in Washington, D.C. Nicola.
Reverend. Good afternoon, Reverend.
Good afternoon.
This is Washington. Yes, sir. This is Washington State, Tacoma, Washington.
Oh,
State.
Tacoma, Washington. Okay.
Yes. And thank you so much for having me on, but also especially for your diligence and hard work and insight in keeping us tuned into this very vital issue of the Supreme Court decision. I've been an activist for decades and been with you in some demonstrations and such. But more importantly, I want to suggest to all of us, if this makes sense, that if we're going to be fighting in a ring rhetorically and spiritually and politically, I think we need to hone our debate skills by sparring with each other. And what I mean by that is locally and nationally and wherever we are, let's take aside our colleagues and say, okay, this is our argument. I'm going to argue the other side. Let's see how you can beat me down, or I could beat you down. We need to do that because we're too often in an echo chamber, and I'm not accusing you of that. I'm saying at the grassroots, we go into a meeting, 200 people clap their hands, and we walk out feeling good.
Right.
I think we should all take some time to say, okay, here's the argument from the other side. I'm going to do my best. Do your best, and we get better at this.
I like that because I think sometimes we preach to the choir rather than debate and sharpen our issues. That's one of the things that I think is good about what I like doing this talk show, because I like to be able to hear what people have to say, refine my argument, and listen to theirs. And sometimes they say things that I don't even know, because this is not some casual fight. This is a real battle, and you've got to be ready for battle.
Exactly. And if I could just add, as an Italian-American, European-American, this is my fight too. Because if you don't have your rights, if my neighbor doesn't have their rights, it impacts me, and it's going to impact me. And it does, to deny someone their rights does impact me, because we're not free as a people, as a nation. And just to give you another reference to those 80s and 90s days, when you had marched through Bensonhurst, being an Italian-American, I was very glad that you were doing that. And I joined the David Dinkins Increase the Peace Corps along the sidelines. You probably remember that notion and that concept.
Right.
And what I was doing, I was frightened, but what I was doing was talking to others that looked like me. I was not from the neighborhood, but I was Italian-American, so I could talk to them. And I talked to these young boys who were on their bicycles and looked pretty threatening. And they had their hairstyles in a certain way. And I, kind of curious, like, what kind of music do they listen to? To the person, they all listen to rap music.
Wow.
All of them.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? I didn't want to create a confrontation. I just started saying to them, we got to learn to get along better, like those songs say, something like that.
Right.
But it just shocked me, and really woke me up to the fact that music does and can unite us. So again, your work is just phenomenal. You bring it to a whole nother level.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate you saying that, because a lot of people, younger people, don't know what we went through in certain communities. But there were some Italians, some Jewish that stood with us, and some blacks were saying they ought to leave it alone. The boy dead, let him leave it alone. Well, if we left it alone, nobody would have paid for killing them, and we'd have had more killings. I appreciate you. Thank you for your call.
Could it?
Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead. Go
thank
ahead.
you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. One last thing that you may or may not know of. Frank Barbaro was the assemblyman.
I
from that
remember
district.
Frank Barbaro very well.
And he brought us together. He helped organize the Increase the Peace folks and the Italian Americans trying to hold back our people from craziness. And after we did that, I did it, I think, 2 times. He did a very funny and poetic thing. He invited us all back into his assemblyman's office to eat what? Watermelon.
That's Frank Barbaro. Frank Barbaro was a progressive before we ever heard of Bernie Sanders and them. He was that kind of guy.
Yes.
And in fact, I said to Bernie Sanders, I said, you come from Brooklyn. I never saw you involved until you got to Vermont. People like Frank Barbaro was involved in their home base where they were. They didn't go somewhere else, and they don't get the credit they should get. But Barbaro is the real deal because he came out there when it wasn't popular, and this was in his assembly district, and he still stood up.
Exactly.
He still stood
And
up.
he still stood up.
Absolutely.
I mean, he carried that watermelon into the office himself.
Yeah, no, he was that kind of guy, and he stood with Mayor Dinkins, first black mayor, and it was not popular in his district, but he stood with him, and he took the licks, and I never will forget Frank Barbaro. He was, because one of the reasons you can't forget him is it wasn't that many had that kind of courage, but he was saying, I don't care, I'm against the people that may be my color, but that's not what I'm for, and I appreciate that. Thank you for your call. Really good call. On a day like this, I needed a call like this. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
So we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We want to really go. Yeah, we was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family
was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. That's one of the slave houses. Sir, it's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine. Good.
Right, so that's and we
Alexander Sharpton. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's when exactly. That was exactly.
The two people that most influenced my life were from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road with me. I went over his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket. From South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James.
Yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people from too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And when I knew Jesse was from James, I started president.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about him in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came in January. His daughter swear that was his daddy and helped me push the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told him, do you know that my great-grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to I-20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you gotta listen to me. But
This organization has been on the front line. People ask me, why do families call us? Because we never leave them. No justice! No justice! What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? When do we want it? When do we want it? When do we want it? I remember I was 12 years old. I was a boy preacher in the Church of God in Christ. Bishop Shear knew my bishop, Bishop Washington. Bishop Washington, my mother was concerned I was getting into politics. They brought us to Reverend William Jones. His daughter's traveling with us. And Reverend Jones introduced me to Jesse Jackson. I became his youth director in New York at 13. I liked Reverend Jackson because he was a little hipper than the older preachers. He was 27, I was 13 by the time I became youth director. So he was like a father figure to me. When I got about 40, he said, quit calling me father, call me big brother. We went to the car center
and James Meeks and Jesse Jr. And I have everyone else.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
He said, Al.
I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Don't forget, I've been burning these phones up. You don't want to miss Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. Live at 5 p.m. this Saturday and this Sunday on MS Now. I'm going to have the folks that are really in the position in Congress and the Senate and in the state positions to build back against the damage of this Supreme Court decision and tell us how they're going to do it and who's with us and who's not. Don't talk to me about the midterms if you're not talking to me about voting rights. Make sure you watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now, Saturday and Sunday. You that in the tri-state area, answer them by being at the rally Saturday. I'm going to lay out the steps we've got to take now to combat this. Yep, we disappointed. Yep, we mad. Now what we going to do about it? I'm going to lay out the plan. Be in the house. Don't lay home, listen to radio. Be in the house. Saturday, 9 to 11 at Mother AME Zion Church, 137th and Lenox Avenue in Harlem, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And in a few weeks, we're moving into our headquarters, but thank God that historic church has given us a home. All right, let's go to Nicola in Washington, D.C. Nicola.
Hi.
Hi.
It's Yolanda.
Oh, it's Yolanda.
In Maryland.
All right, they went to another line. No problem. Go ahead.
Thanks, Reverend Al Sharpton, for giving me the opportunity to speak. I've been trying to figure out about how we can help our young people get more on board with all the political things that are going on, even around them, that they're not even involved in. And I found from talking to some of the young people that even when I let them hear certain speeches and stuff, they don't really understand like what we're talking about. So, trying to explain to them what's going on. I think we need more boots on the ground in different neighborhoods to address that. And then I was explaining to them the importance of, how we need to not just so easily kill people, like our own brothers and sisters. So I go back to the 80s and I come up to now, and we've had almost every year at least 600 deaths. And this is not just in one state. We're talking about in multiple states, the same scenario. So I don't know, but I think we should all be more willing to put the boots on the ground and get out into the neighborhood and see what's going on and try and get more people involved. And not just in one state. We need to do it all over at the same time.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, one of the things that I charged our chapters in National Action Network, and we have one in Baltimore, is that we've got to get out of our comfort zone, talking to the regular people that we already know are involved, and talk to these not only young people, but old people. You got many old people sitting on a stoop doing nothing. Sit next to them, let's talk to them and get them involved and make sure that they're doing things. We used to call it go out fishing. You need to do some more fishing. That's how I built NAN. I started with 12 people, and now we're in 138 cities. You got to go to the people. People are not as turned off as much as they have not been turned on by some. Now, some you'll never get. But if you get 2 out of 10, it's helping to turn our community around. You're absolutely right, Yolanda. Absolutely right. Thank you for your call. Let me go to Ira in Washington, D.C. Ira. Is Ira there?
Got 2 quick subjects, less than 5 minutes. What it is, I went on the site. I saw this thing called Lady RAC, and she was saying one of her articles was in reference to NATO fired America for the weapon supplier for the rest of these Canadian states and all that stuff, and that the president was trying to blackmail them and badger them into complying with his wishes for being according to the NATO stuff. And you have to just get to that site, and there's a whole scenario there about what they did, what they didn't do, what he did, as well as try to threaten them to be a part of his program. And the the Pentagon drafted a secret memo to punish NATO countries who didn't comply with him. And that's one thing I think people should check out. Just like I said, go to that place called Lady RAC, and that's the whole complete story. I'm not going to go into the scenario, but you look that up. The most of the people do. Reuters had an article, and it was leaked to them, and they published it as well. And my second thing is this, Brother Sharpton, the alleged assassination of attempt for President Trump again. Same thing with the ear thing when he got shot in the ear. It's just a ploy to me that you want to get sympathy by false pretense of allegedly somebody trying to hurt you in order for you to stay in power. The guy that did this, let me tell you, I used to work for Secret Service, and let me tell you what year. I used to work for Secret Service, and it's no way. I watched the training of these sharpshooters. They can shoot a roach 100 yards away on a cup and kill it. So I know that this is some crap that they're lying about to get their sympathy votes again for this president, thinking somebody trying to kill him. So I want America to wake up and say, look, if they want him, they can get him. They're not getting him. The boy's family that did the shooting thing to him had notified the Secret Service that that boy was coming. But by his manifesto, it was shipped to their family to let them know that he was coming so that he wouldn't get the boy killed or the president killed. So they already knew. It's bull crap because these sharpshooters can shoot, like I said, a roach 100 yards away on a cup, believe me. So I want everybody to wake up and know this is just some entertainment for getting him into another position to get people to feel sorry for him, allegedly trying to get killed. If they want him, they can get him. That's my call, Brother Sharpton. Appreciate you taking my call,
All
brother.
right. So let me thank you for your call. Let me say this. Callers can say what they want. I'm not going to say that there's any evidence I know of Trump setting this up or allowing this to happen. I think political violence is wrong no matter who does it. And I think that people suspecting Trump, he needs to ask himself why there is a large segment of people that don't believe anything you say. But I am going to not let them in terms of Trump and them lower my standards of condoning any political violence, no matter what the circumstance. Do we have Nicola in Washington, D.C.?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. So I think a lot of things hit me as strange and unexplainable. But I've learned down through the years, rather than give them an out, they want you to go for the shiny object. Shiny object, go to a conspiracy. Well, there's enough actual, apparent, obvious facts that I don't need to go to a conspiracy. There's no conspiracy of what the Supreme Court did today. That's a fact. Undebatable, undeniable. So rather than me try and take a different position and a different way of saying what I'm saying, and being on this show, I'm saying it plainly, and I'm going to say it on MS Now tonight. It is clear to me that we have got to do what is necessary with the facts that we can establish. Because what they want you to do is get off into some kind of debating things that you cannot totally establish, rather than dealing with things that you can. It is real clear, very clear to me. And I think that a lot of us just don't understand that People can argue one way or another about a conspiracy. They can't argue about a Supreme Court decision. So the question is what we're going to do about it. People can say whatever they want about any issue. But when it becomes as clear as they shot that across the barrel today, that clear, then you definitely are in another category. And I think that that's where we are. One thing about Trump does not try to hide it. He blatantly comes out and tells you what he's about, what he wants to do. Now, if you didn't believe he was going to do it, that's on you. He told you. He told you on diversity, equity, and inclusion. He told you coming at voting rights. He told you he wanted to change these district lines. And all of us didn't believe it. Many of us did. I certainly did, and started gearing up for it. But many didn't believe it. Then others just thought hollering at the moon is going to change something. And then the other thing, and I'm glad that last caller talked about we need to come together and talk to each other. The last thing is you always have this small group, it's loud but small, not a lot of them, that always want to blame each other rather than fight the enemy. Well, if the civil rights leaders, or well, if the Black Caucus, or well, if the old guard. The Black Caucus didn't take away voting rights. They voted for it, kept it in 5 times. Civil rights leaders didn't stop the Voting Rights Act. They're the ones that fought to get it. The old folks didn't lose the voting rights. This generation did. What are you talking about? But we get tricked by our own egos, because a lot of that just want to be seen, that we put our ego above the agenda of the people. And that is our challenge. Let me get ready to go. I'm sorry for those I didn't get to. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. I'll talk to you tomorrow.